To protests and even detentions right here in central PA. The most recent in York County included a man who was here for 20 years, and it led to a call to action from the mayor. So CBS 21's Andrew Klein joins us now. He had a chance to chat with immigration lawyers today about what those living in fear for their safety can do to protect themselves.
Well, Jasmine, when I spoke to Craig Shagan earlier, an immigration attorney here in Harrisburg, he told me it's important to remember that these stories are so very real. They're not just headlines or fake people being torn from their families. It's everyday folks just trying to get by.
Probably the most noticeable thing we've seen is the level of fear that people have, even when they shouldn't. In other words, they're taking care of their papers, they're processing properly, but nonetheless they're afraid because they're seeing other people being arrested and detained.
Since the current presidential administration took office in January, thousands of ICE arrests have taken place across the United States.
There isn't necessarily like a clear pattern to who is getting arrested or not. Some people go in and they're absolutely fine, and other people go in and are unfortunately detained.
Deporting people that entered the United States illegally is not a new practice. It's been done by multiple previous administrations, but lawyers are concerned with how the process is taking place under President Trump.
If you had a DUI or if you were charged with a crime, they would, and your papers were either you were a non-immigrant or you had no status, you would likely be detained. Now, you don't have to commit a crime.
One noticeable arrest came just last week in York City, where a man who had lived there for 20 years was detained. He was arrested 20 years after violating an order of supervision, but had spent the better part of those 20 years with a clean record.
I couldn't see it because this man is a good man. He's been a good neighbor to us, family, and he always helped people. He was the kind of man that you would want next door to you.
In a Facebook post after that arrest, York City Mayor Michael Helfrich said that if you live with fear of being detained or deported, seek legal counsel. Protect yourself before it's too late.
Another good practice is to, make a safety plan. It's important for, people who think they might be at risk of arrest or detention, whether on an order of supervision or just more broadly, to memorize the names and the phone numbers of people that you might want to call in the event of arrest. So, relatives, trusted friends, or lawyers.
One of the other interesting points that Shagan brought up to me was the fact that all this talk around immigration has been negative and why immigration is bad, but he really wants to talk about why immigration is a good thing here in the United States. In Dauphin County, Andrew Klein, CBS 21 News.
Thank you, Andrew. Okay, we want to know what you think at home. We asked you on Facebook, do you think the Trump administration's immigration enforcement strategy has been too harsh or not harsh enough? And so Lee says kids and old ladies aren't hardened criminals. And so if we don't abide by the laws, we get harsh punishments. That's what Lisa said. And Demetrius says immigration enforcement? You mean fascist authoritarian kidnapping? And then Steve says they're doing a great job. One reason I voted for him. If you'd like to weigh in, we'd love to hear from you. The question has been posted to our Facebook page. We're learning more about a crash that brought a lot of police on Route 322. The group arrested